source of leads to reach out to and connect with on a day-to-day basis. But really time blocking, making sure we're prospecting, and making sure that we're moving people through the pipeline and not just trying to get the ready now business, but take time to nurture that long-term business.
That is excellent. And so do you, on your team of, what did you say, 13?
Yep.
Do you have ISAs on your team that?
So I do have one ISA now, and his primary focus is just calling expired listings. And for him, a couple of years ago, it would have been a lot more expireds to work with. So we've dug back, I think, to go the last 6 years worth of expireds in our market area. So we're reaching out to people who had their house on the market 4, 5, 6 years ago. And then the individual agents, it's not a requirement. We don't say, hey, you've got to go and make so many calls a day or have it's just kind of the expectation. We give our agents an opportunity each day to sign up for new leads coming into the database where they can work exclusively. And if they want to take advantage of it and they're making a bunch of calls and reaching out to those folks, they'll get more time slots. If they don't do much, they're not going to have time slots.
Interesting. I've been wondering because we don't work expired or canceled. So I've been curious how that market is doing right now. Just like you said, there aren't any of those, but that's brilliant to reach back farther. I love that.
Yep.
Those that are, those sellers that are sitting out there going, should I jump in? So that's excellent. All right. How about my Owasso, Michigan buddy, Jeff?
Yeah, so first of all, I'll totally agree with Chris that you have to be disciplined, whether you call it time blocking, time management, or whatever it is. You have to set aside dedicated time to prospect, lead generate, and stick with that. That's the heart of your business. For us, for me, I have 17 years in the business, or almost 17 years in the business at this point. And the first handful of years, I was kind of chasing my tail. But when I got it purposeful about becoming a listing agent and really becoming listing focused, that started to turn the tables for me. And I have to tell you, I couldn't be more grateful for that decision. Well, and it was somewhat of a coached decision, or I received some advice on becoming listing focused. But right now in this low inventory market, if I was not listing focused for close to the last 10 years, it would be much harder to survive and sustain business right now. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But ultimately for me, what it has come down to is just being incredibly relationship based. And when I think I'm doing a good job of nurturing relationships, I'm always trying to find other ways to do that. We have a pretty big sphere of influence now, and sometimes it does get challenging to really focus on relationships when there's that many of them to focus on. But really, anything you can do to make sure that your client knows how much you appreciate them, or even somebody that's never done business with you, encourage referrals. We do run a program that was once called the Top 50. We're calling it the Top 200 now. So we're taking our top 200 sources of business, or people that have either done repeat business with us or sent us referrals, or that are most likely to send us referrals. And we monthly make some kind of special contact, or our favorite thing is drop-offs. Frankly, we do typically a themed type drop-off. Like in the month of January, we had ice scrapers for your windshield made with our logo on them and dropped them off to 200 people. And the intent is not just the drop-off, but to get a conversation in during the drop-off and check in on them. Going all the way back to last year at the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdowns here in Michigan, we obviously couldn't visit people, so it was really important for us to just on the phone with every one of those people and make sure that, you know, if there's anything at all we can do, and very sincerely, if there's anything we can do to help them or make a connection so that, you know, they can get groceries dropped off or whatever it was, but really just pouring into other people. And that's probably a really long-winded way to say it is just pour into your people and you'll get back what you need out of them.
I love that. And we do that as well. I just have to laugh. Like if I if I delivered an ice scraper in Phoenix, Arizona, it would be comical. Um, you know, in the summer we drop like ice cold water bottles and the those ice, what are they called? The thermal bags, you know, to hold your groceries, because just from the grocery store to home, your food melts. So we have the opposite kind of drop off gifts. So that's hilarious. But I also want to tag on to what Chris and Jeff said for running your business like a business. I think there's such wisdom in that, and show up every day for work. It's, you know, I may be in the world right now, but I am dressed for work. I'm at work, and it is a work day. It's not, if somebody happens to call me, I'll go show a house. It's, you know, I am doing the initiating of that. So that lead generation is absolutely critical. So I love how Jeff and Chris both spoke to that. Okay, Trent, tell us about your secret sauce. And somebody else already asked a question for you. How did you get started with investors? So if you can speak to that, that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah, so I started off investing myself. I've been investing in real estate for about 20 plus years now. I started off investing before the crash, so I've pretty much seen it all and done it all. You know, so I got licensed initially in order to just have more access, so I could have more access to information, access to see houses before other investors might be able to see them and be able to make a move on them. And then later, I just, you know, wanted to just expand what I was doing and, you know, start working with other investors. So initially, I started meeting other investors by going to a lot of the local real estate investment club meetings, and just meeting other people, understanding what other people wanted, like knowing what their buy box was, like what are they looking for, what are their investment goals, you know. And then once I had that database, then I could just, when I came across inventory, I could see what inventory matched which investors buy box. And then you just kind of matching people up with, matching investors up with deals that you come across. So the biggest thing, like what Jeff mentioned, like focusing on listings, I think is the most important thing. I try to get a lot of off-market listings because investors like to see stuff that's off-market, so they know there's not a lot of competition. And you can kind of develop better relationships that way. And that was another thing that was mentioned before about developing those relationships. I think that's super important when you're working with investors. Adding more value. In my market, which is Atlanta, which is like one of the hottest markets in the country right now, I mean, it's crazy the number of offers we're seeing on listings, the investors that are coming in with cash, very aggressive, no due diligence periods, low inspection, you know, pretty much no inspection. Or maybe they'll do a pre-inspection, no due diligence, over ask cash offers. So it's like when these large investors are coming into these markets like this, it makes it really competitive and really hard for agents, especially buyers agents. It's hard to get deals. So it's like, if you're going to work with investors, try to get listings, try to find stuff off market, and be of more value than just saying, hey, here's a house. Try to show them the numbers, show that this is an investment that actually does meet their criteria and fits within their buy box. And that way you'll see more investors coming to you. You'll see more deals start coming to you as you start growing your contacts and database and start talking to enough people. So that's pretty much my secret, is really just talking to people and building my relationships and building out my network.
ऑडिटोरियम में लाइव ट्रेनिंग चल रही है, लाइव समझ रहे हो? इधर जा रहा हूँ, नीचे उतर रहा हूँ, ये दीवार से टकरा दिया, इधर मोड़ करो, अब चलो नीचे उतर रहा हूँ.
Is there a way we can have people close their mic?
सीधा वहाँ जा रहा हूँ.
Hard to hear.
देख लिया, सब देख रहे हैं मेरे को. मैं ये इनके नाम लिखे हुए हैं कि टाट के ऊपर
Sudan, your mic is muted. We can't hear the rest of this presentation. Please mute your mic. Sudan, mute your mic, please.
Okay, I jumped on my phone because my laptop is not cooperating. So I heard the end of Trent, and then somebody else was talking. If you can mute your mic, that would be helpful. Can you just confirm that you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We got you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so how do you track your business? What tools do you use to track like lagging factors and leading factors? Let's start with Chris.
So we use CTE as our, closing tracking management. We started using it about 2 years ago. I'm going to be honest with you. I use it more just to show where we're at from a month-to-month perspective for the agents, for little contests and stuff like that we run. I wish I could say I used it more as a predictive tool for how to spend money in the future. But we do take a look and see what our return on investment is for the different lead sources that we're spending money on. And it helps us make a decision more towards the end of the year. Are we going to continue forward or spend less?
Okay, that's great. And I looked at that CTE as well. I have to say, I just think it's fascinating that the tools out there, I think every agent runs their business differently. And so I think it's fascinating how tools can just be so challenging, for those tracking mechanisms. So how about Jeff? What tool do you use to track your business?
Before I tell you the tools, I will tell you that if you're an agent getting started or an agent that doesn't want to invest in a really nice tool or well advanced system, spreadsheets, Excel or Google Docs are fantastic if you can open your mind to what you're really trying to track. You can create the opportunity through spreadsheets.
Absolutely. I just want to say clap, clap, clap to that. That's so true. We can, we can be $50 to death, right? So anyway, go ahead.
No, absolutely. But however, I do use RealVolve as our, I call it our business's operating system. All of our contact management is there. We have workflows for every step of the process from prospect all the way to contract or after contract to close. And with that, it does give us some predictive ability, but I also use QuickBooks Online for the income, revenue, and expense portion of that. Like somebody just said before me that I play a quarterly red light, green light. If we're not getting results on our spend, we're going to be able to see that directly in our budget and our income. RealVolve, by the way, somebody asked the question, is RealVolve, RealVolve. Very robust system. But anyway, we do treat our business like a business, so we need to know the money that we're spending. We need to know that we're getting it back threefold in business. Dollar for dollar is not really what we're trying to do here. We're not a nonprofit. We're really trying to maximize our profit. So anything that doesn't bring us those results that you can't track, and with the exception of some of our relationship building efforts, those are a little more difficult to track directly because they are some of those people were already sending us business. But again, watching this thing closely so that we know next month can pay our bills and that we can increase our position.
That's great. Good, good. Thank you. Thank you for that tip. Trent, how about you?
Yeah, so I use KV Core. I use that just to I use the Making It Rain campaign that EXP offers, just so I have a steady flow of potential buyers coming into my system. Um, and basically just try to see what they're looking for, and that a lot of those leads I'll use to refer out to other agents, and if they fit, if their needs fit some inventory that I have, then of course I have a buyer lined up to be able to hand that off to. So pretty much KV Core, I use a lot of spreadsheets, because a lot of the listings that I get that come from in investment funds, they're portfolios, so there are a lot of homes. So I kind of already know what's on the books as far as commissions go, if when they're sold, but it's all about the timing and speed to meet the investors' needs, because they calculate what's called an IRR that calculates in time. So we have to kind of sell things at a pretty decent pace, so their return on investment is better. So it's just spreadsheets, having a lot of meetings with my team, as far as internally, and my team that works with a lot of the investors, making sure communication is good, and just following up on deals and tracking certain communications. That's kind of pretty much how I follow up with large clients and smaller leads as well.
Excellent. So you started right out using the tools that we have access to within EXP. What a concept.
Yep.
That's great. Okay, and forgive me that I don't know this, but we came into EXP with 15 years before of generating business differently. So KV Core, the Making It Rain is you pay for that, correct?
Right.
Okay, but
Yeah.
the KV Core piece is
Yeah, you
available
don't have,
to us
yeah,
for
that's
free.
free, and a lot of times you can there's things you can do to get a lot of organic leads to come in to your KV Core. So you don't have to pay, but I do, just because I don't do anything else marketing wise. But
Okay.
yeah, there's other ways to get a lot of leads flowing in there, and it's great to track, and they have great automation as well, so you can keep up with leads without you having to physically go in and respond to everyone that comes into your system.
Nice. Excellent. Thank you. I need to check into that. I always say that. I got to check into that in my spare time. So what would you say you're doing differently this year than you did last year to improve your numbers? Because last year was, a little nutty. So what might you be doing differently this year? Let's start with Jeff.
One major decision we made was to almost cut out entirely our online lead generation. And so different than what we were just talking about, we did use KV Core, and we still do, don't get me wrong, for online lead gen. It's great for listing marketing and being able to capture interest and leads for our listings. But we used to have a robust program that brought us a steady diet of buyer leads. And when this market transitioned to what it is this year, we made the decision to cut that out by just about 75%, and we're reallocating that part of the budget to our relationship building efforts. I've been my whole career, I've been a very big believer in KV Core, and online lead generating as a whole. Actually, before I came to EXP, I was a conversion user, conversion being the precursor to KV Core. So I know it's a system that works, and so I certainly don't downplay that. But our focus is definitely on listings and on building those relationships. We believe wholeheartedly, and I think very few experienced real estate agents will tell you any differently, that your easiest and cheapest business comes from your sphere of influence, the people that are closest to you. So we're turning even harder in that direction this year.
Excellent. Excellent. Chris, how about you? What are you doing differently this year?
Just adding new team members. So we typically have more leads than our existing team can handle. And completely agree with Jeff about going deep on your SOI and past customers. That is a focus of ours this year, is to clean that up and make sure that we're touching them a lot more regularly than we are right now. But just adding additional agents onto our team. The one thing I will say is that when it comes to online lead generation, but all these guys are right in saying that it's a steady source of leads that are coming in. Right now, we're obviously in a very heavy seller's market, but that's not going to be the case forever.
Right.
The average online lead is going to be a 6 to 18 month nurture. So, the new leads that are coming in right now most likely are going to be transacting next year. And so instead of cutting our budget, we're actually increasing our budget so that we can be nurturing for when the market does start to make a transition, that we've already developed the relationships with the buyers who are going to be coming back out of this market.
Nice. That's excellent. Yes, I think it's so important to have a longer view than right here, right now, because I always say, well, if business is slow right now, that's 3-6 months ago what I was not doing.
Yep.
It shows up later. Hang on, Trent. I need to address some of these questions, it looks like. Sorry, I couldn't see them when I was on my mobile. So can you add all these to the chat box, Antoinette? I think that was the systems for tracking. So Jeff, can you type yours in? I forget, Real Volve or something. And then CTE was Chris's. And Trent, you use KV Core. Is that correct?
Right. Yes.
Okay. And then how much are you spending for making it rain, Trent?
I was spending, well, it's $500 a month.
Okay. For making it rain. Okay. Now, where do you invest in yourself and or your education or coaching? Does anybody have a business coach? I personally do, yes.
Yeah, I have had a coach off and on during most of my career. Right now, I am in year 2 with Workman Success Systems. I love their program. I love their outlook. I like how they look at our businesses. We are people first. Clients are people, and it's very, very people focused. But having an outside resource that is not so personally invested in your business, it's so that they can give you some very objective opinions and some accountability. Accountability without question is a huge part of this business. Whether you hire a coach or not, you can certainly find a partner for accountability to hold you accountable to the time blocking and the prospecting and kind of help you shape your goals. But I would say out of the 17 years I've been in business, I have actively had a coach for 12 of those years.
Nice. Okay. How about you, Chris? Do you have?
Yep. Since I started in 2004, and I think I've had about 2 or 3 total years in the business where we didn't actually have an active coach. And currently my coaches are Michael Baird and Damon Gettier. They were previously with Realty Partners and now have their own coaching program.
Okay, nice. Trent, how about you? Do you have outside education or coaching?
I try to continue outside education, and I try to do that through like YouTube and all the resources EXP offers, because a lot of this stuff is recorded. So you can always go back, listen to stuff, listen to other people's wisdom, take little nuggets here and there. I did have a coach I hired. It was like a weekend session just to kind of look over my business and kind of give me some pointers and have that objective view on my business. And it was kind of like therapy almost, to kind of have somebody just kind of look inside and kind of ask you certain questions you wouldn't normally ask yourself, or people in your close circle wouldn't ask each other. You have that outside perspective. So that was good and kind of got me on the right track of learning how to think and how to see certain things. And then from there, I didn't feel like I needed continuous coaching because I felt like there were a lot of other resources out there, and other mentors and other people in the organization EXP that can assist. So yeah, that's my experience.
Nice. And I do have a business coach with Buffini and Company. I'm going to spell that out here. 15 years I have been with them, and they I say I would not have survived the crash without having that business coach and the entire organization. And let me just back up. That is the tracking system that we use. It's a system they have. It's called Referral Maker, and I love that. I love that system. So anytime I make a call, I go in and I track it. Anytime I do a drop by or a note. So the reason I like that is I think, oh, I just talked to them. And then I look on the system and go, I haven't talked to them in 6 months. It just feels like it in my head. So again, that is why the tracking to me is so important. Not just tracking the business and the numbers, but tracking the lead generation that I'm doing. So sorry, I'm just jumping in because Joe's not here. So you need to hear from more of us, right? Okay, Corey is asking, what would a typical day look like from morning to night? And that was my next question, Corey, so excellent. Let's start with Chris. What does your typical day look like?
So a typical day or the last month?
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a typical day? But go ahead.
Typical day for me, get up, get a little workout in, take my daughter to school. I'm usually in the office by about 8 to 8:10. Checking email, start doing some prospecting. From a team leader perspective, I'm looking to see, are there any fires that we need to be putting out? I still do a little bit of production on my own. So I'll, hit and follow up with the people that I need to follow up with. And then if I do any appointments, they're going to be typically after 12 o'clock. Try to be done by 5:30. But lately, I'm going 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it's just stuff. It's in the weeds a little bit right now. We did a little bit of a conversion on our on some of the systems we were using, so that's caused a little more workflow. But when we set out what our typical agent's day should look like, prospecting from 8 to 10, doing their follow-ups from 10 to 11, give themselves a little bit of a break, 11 to maybe 12, 12:30, grab some lunch. Appointments, if they don't have appointments from 12 to 5, then they're doing more prospecting and reaching back out to the people that are in their database that they've had good conversations with, and making sure they're continuing to nurture them.
Excellent. And I love that after noon, you are your morning is kind of blocked out. So
Yes.
That is great. I do also utilize the Win by Noon planner. Anybody is a paper person, which most of us are not. I understand that, but I do try to get specific tasks done before noon, and that is lead generation every morning, getting calls done, writing some handwritten notes, and reaching out to people. And it keeps me focused because if I can win those tasks before noon, and then the rest of the day is successful. So win by noon. I am writing that down. There's a real estate professional planner. So it's fabulous. Thank you, Laura Joe. That's great. Jeff, how about you? What does your typical day look like?
Sorry about that. Actually, ironically, or maybe not ironic, the schedule that Chris talked about, that is 100% the way I coach my agents to their day, and I follow a very similar time schedule myself, with the exception of throwing in time to think more like a CEO and view my business differently than within it, but be able to work on it. So I do set aside time for agent attraction for one thing, recruiting for admin positions, and probably maybe the only significant difference between Chris's recommended schedule and mine is, I'm sorry, that sounds like a knock, but I do block out a couple times a week, 2 hours in the afternoon to make sure I get some time with my wife or kids, depending on everybody's schedules. But we are in the mode where our 15-year-old is very busy in the evening, so I can't count on time with her in the evening. So I got to block it off in the afternoon to make sure we get in that quality time.
That's excellent. And I love that. I always just tell clients I have an appointment. They don't need to know what that appointment is. Although I got caught once. I was hiking this mountain right by my house. And I told this client, I have an appointment. And I was like mentally fried. Like, I'm going hiking. I don't care what happens. Wouldn't you know, the client is on the same stinking trail and I run into him. Oh, so once in a while that backfires. Oh, what are the odds?
An appointment with your family is still an appointment. So,
but it was just with myself. But you're right. It was. I couldn't have planned that. Anyway, Trent, what does your typical day look like?
Yeah, so I tried to keep my time to myself up till about 9 a.m. So I'm up between like 7 and 7:30 or so. And up till 9, I try to keep that to myself, no phone calls. But, now this is for me now. When, earlier in my career, it's 24/7. Like, I would never say I'm not going to take a phone call that comes in at like 7 in the morning or 8. Like now, that time, because I have other people that can answer the phones and stuff for me. So I'm not giving advice on how you set your schedule up. When you're new, I say you need to grind 24/7. But now, I take my calls starting at around 9, checking emails and whatnot. I have a property management company as well, because I'm managing portfolios that are selling, and some of them have tenants in them. So I do a lot of follow up and calls with property managers, making sure tenants are taken care of. And then just following up with it's really phone calls and emails mostly. That's how my day is. And I find time to cut out so I can take some time for myself as well. And then I cut my day off at 6 o'clock usually. I don't do anything too much after 6.
Nice. I'm proud of you for that. That is hard, because you're right. It's a perpetual business. And we have some clients that think we only work nights, and some clients that think we only work weekends, and some clients think we just only work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So we do our best to set those expectations up front. And I think that is critical to give them that expectation. All right. Let's see. Looking at my questions here. If anybody has anything to share that's just random that you think would benefit the audience, go for it. Most successful marketing campaign. Anybody have a successful marketing campaign?
Yeah, I can talk for a second on that. I 2 years ago decided that I was going to use video as a form of marketing or, attraction. I wouldn't say that it would be used as lead generation necessarily, although it can have that effect. But depending on, maybe it doesn't depend on the type of market you live in, but it might depend on who your specific target clients are. But I started out creating a video series highlighting other local businesses. I'm in a small market, so the local feel wins pretty big. So I interview local business owners, offer them an opportunity to give their, highlight their business, just give their sales pitch and highlight their products or service or whatever it is. And so we can kind of have a win-win. We focus on them, and obviously we get some face time and it's branded with our information, but the focus is really on helping other business owners out. We also do events and nonprofits and local attractions like the parks and trails and that kind of thing. But regardless of what you do for marketing or what kind of campaign you use, there really needs to be consistency behind it. So I would say that any one campaign was not as successful as it could be is if you consistently created campaigns like it, and continue to do that over a long period of time.
That's great. And Jeff, just share, because I happen to know, what is the population of your town?
The town has about 15,000 residents. Our county is about 70,000, and I consider the greater county area my market. So we're looking at about 70 to 80,000.
Nice. Okay. Good to know. So you do go outside of Owasso?
Absolutely. I would probably not be paying the bills if I stuck within the city limits here.
You'd be the only one selling there. Chris, how about you? Most successful marketing campaign?
Really, for us, it's just consistently running our Facebook and Google pay-per-click ads. It's something that when you're super busy, you don't have to put the mental time and effort in to know that you're going to have a consistent flow of business that's coming in. I'd love to be able to go and, it's one of those you put on your rocks for the year and go, okay, I want to do something like what Jeff's talking about and do the businesses, and then you just get caught in the grind. And so I have to be realistic with myself and just what he said, what am I going to be consistent with? If I'm just going to be a one-off, then I'm just wasting time and money doing it. And so for us, it's just continuing to go deeper and deeper with our online and our digital footprint.
Nice. That's so true. We can chase shiny objects, right? Just constantly going, oh, that sounds good, let's do that. But that's not the highest and best use of our time for us, we follow a plan. But I want to hear from Trent first. What's your most successful marketing campaign?
So I've been experimenting with a lot of different marketing, just trying to see what works, and just getting an understanding of different marketing. And I would say to new agents, don't spend a lot of money on marketing at first.
Right.
Like, don't think marketing and leads is your, the end all be all to you being a successful agent, because it's not. Like, when you understand, different levels of motivation depending on the lead source, that's why I did a lot of different campaigns, to understand that and to kind of interact with different types of leads through buyer campaigns and seller campaigns. So, and I've tried things online, like using Vulcan 7. Check out Vulcan 7. I did a seller campaign, and basically what they'll do is reach out and contact a lot of for sale by owner off and listings and maybe expired listings for you, and send you those leads so you can reach out and contact those folks. So I did those campaigns. I did a campaign. I did a mailer campaign recently that was pretty successful. And this was to attract some listings, or either off-market homes that could be wholesaled or I could purchase to sell wholesale. And it was basically just a simple letter, making the letter as basic and simple as possible, and just saying, I'm interested in buying your home cash. Please give me a call. A basic 2-line letter. I've been getting a lot of responses from those of people interested. Checking out also ListSource. ListSource is a way where you can get a lot of, you can break down locations and streets where you want to start sending mailer campaigns. So you can get names, addresses, and information of potential leads. If you're looking to do circle prospecting and just find certain areas in a certain neighborhood that you want to focus on and just send letters just to that area, maybe they're more likely to respond because you can see that they've been in their home for a longer period of time. They might have built up some equity. You might see some other sales kind of in that area, and you think that might be a good place to target. They're kind of sending some stuff out there. So I've been experimenting with those kind of campaigns and got some good responses. But I have found that there's no end all be all hitting tactic that's just always going to work. You always got to look at your results. Always be willing to pivot and adjust and make changes, and but be consistent. You have to have a level of consistency so you can see results. So a lot of times, no matter what you're doing, whether you're spending money or not, just be consistent for at least 3 months in whatever you're doing, so you can kind of see if it's really working or not.
Oh, that is excellent. So excellent. And I just think you are super smart because you are utilizing the the tools that are available to you that are either free or, not free, but included with our EXP, and utilizing that to grow your business. And just being so new to the industry, that is critical to use what we have, instead of going out and buying things that are not best use of our money and time. So super smart guy you are, Trent. All of you are. And I just want to share, the Nosy Neighbor is a new thing to EXP, and we just signed up for that. It's not free, but we have been trying to farm a neighborhood, and we are horrible at farming. Just straight up honest here. We are terrible at farming, but focusing that intention this year on that farm where we live in our little neighborhood, 1,500 homes. And that Nosy Neighbor is an exceptionally amazing program. So check that out if you haven't already. And let me answer some of these questions here, or ask, what kind of things do you do during, go ahead, Trent.
I was going to mention on the mailer campaign, I also use for the actual letters. You can check out a new company I started using called Ballpoint. I don't know how long they've been around, but basically they have these machines that will hold ballpoint pen, and it'll write the letters, so they're all in ink and handwritten. I think it's like $1.10 per envelope, and so basically it's a letter. It's the letter that you can give them the script for, and then they put it in the envelope. They stuff the envelope, seal it, and they put a stamp on it, and then they mail the envelopes to you. So basically, what I did, I go to ListSource, I go and pull the list of neighborhoods that I want to send letters to, and the addresses I want to send letters to. I download that list. You can upload it to Ballpoint. Ballpoint will then create, you give them the language of your letter, and then they'll mail you all the letters. So then when you mail them out, they're being mailed out locally. So it doesn't seem like they're coming from out of state. So when they're going to like your local market, it looks like, you're a neighboring agent, or you're somebody nearby that's looking to help them. So, that was the campaign I sent out. I just wanted to mention Ballpoint is a good resource if you're looking for another mailing source other than like Yellow Letter, I think is one, but Ballpoint's really cool.
That is very cool, especially like if you have horrible handwriting, and it can look like handwriting. So nice, that's great. Let's see, what kind of things do you do during your follow-up time? Trent.
Follow up.
We guess you follow up.
yeah, phone calls, emails, and do whatever it takes. I mean, I'll you can have KV Core as like, so if somebody's not really on the level yet as far as being able to make a move, whether it's a buyer or seller, then let your automation take care of that follow up. But then once somebody's active, they're asking questions, they want to go see stuff, or either somebody's asking questions on the seller side, and that's when you need to, obviously follow up yourself, take over. I put those notices like on my personal calendar so I can make sure I follow with those particular type of things. But everything else, I try to leave everything to automation as much as possible, just to free up more time, and then, take over where it's important.
Excellent. Okay, we have like 5 minutes left, basically. I want to say, I like this question.
So, Andrea, I want to touch base on the follow-up part of it.
Sure, yes.
Is the one thing to keep in mind when you're following up with someone who is not ready to do something right now, the natural tendency for salespeople, and I think agents in general, is the follow-up comes off as, are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? And we make it a point that our follow-up is all about, creating that relationship, furthering it, building rapport with the people. And so, we try to do some follow-ups on Fridays and Mondays, so that on a Friday we can say something to the effect of, hey, hope you have a great weekend. Hope you got something fun planned. Looks like it's going to be great out there. right? If we come back on a Monday and we're doing the follow-ups with some folks, we'll say something to the effect of, hey, we had an awesome time this weekend. I took the family out to go, to this festival. Maybe when you guys get to town, you guys can go do it as well. And what we keep trying to do is to take it away from the business aspect and make it a more personal relationship. And if we're always talking about houses and their time frames and stuff like that, we're not building rapport. We're just, checking boxes.
Absolutely. And I want to touch on that as well. That's so good, Chris. Thank you. And for our business, we plan a year ahead. So we make a marketing, basically the marketing calendar for the entire year in November or December, and literally have a spreadsheet of one of the fields is a reason to call. So we plan ahead for the reason to call our clients every month. And so it may be, happy Halloween, happy Easter, whatever, happy St. Patrick's Day, those things. And everything has that theme with it for the month. So, if it's, summer, if it's Labor Day, do you need somebody to clean your pool or things like that? And we're referring a business every month. So just like you said, it's not, hey, get off the fence right now. And it might be somebody that's not even in the nurturing campaign. It's just a client. We're asking them for referrals and just checking in on them. How are they doing? Things like that. So I think that personal relationship is critical. Otherwise, they don't take your calls. They stop answering. And that's one of the things I'm really proud of, that when I call my clients, they answer. It's not like I'm getting the voicemail. Like, they're excited to hear from me. So, because I'm fun. So there. Anyway, Jeff, how about you? Follow up.
Well, I very much kind of a combination of everything you guys have already said. We do plan as part of our business planning that we start in October, is we schedule or we plan what the theme is every month, and sometimes we have it broken down to every other week for different categories of clients or leads rather. We know what we're going to say or what the topic is well in advance. And of course we can make some adjustments based on what's going on in the world, but we make that part of our business planning is the themes of the calls that we're going to make. But that's probably more so with prospects and or leads. Our current clients and our closest people, we are certainly kind of more of the topic of the day or whatever their situation happens to be at the time. But obviously keeping it personal and all of that. But yeah, we well in advance we know what we plan on saying, or at least have a good idea, because one of the things that will inhibit you from making those calls is not knowing what to say. So
right, and then you make it all real estate, and that's not cool either.
Exactly. Actually, I have gotten much better response by making it topical, not so much real estate. Sometimes, right now, not a lot of people fully understand how strong of a seller's market we are actually in. So I do make that a topic. I think it's important news that somebody should know. And it's a great way to uncover whether somebody really might be thinking about selling or not. But I would tell you that's probably only 1% of the calls or the contacts we make are real estate related. If you dig deep enough in any community that you live in or work in, there's something local that you can call and talk about or ask about. And honestly, for us during, since this pandemic started, we really are just checking on people, even people we don't know, if they're in our system one way or another, if they're a lead or a prospect or whatever, just to ask if they're doing okay and if there's anything we can do possibly to help them. We pitch our circle of vendors and our trusted service providers. So if somebody's been sitting at home with a furnace that doesn't work real great, but they're worried about making ends meet, maybe we can pull together a couple of nonprofits and a HVAC specialist to go out there and take a look at it or help them. But the key is to ask what you can do to help.
And right now, again, people have been, cooped up for a long time. And so they just love to hear a voice, I think. One thing, we just finished Girl Scout cookies is one of our drop-offs. We take Girl Scout cookies and it has a little tag. It says, anyway, the cookie crumbles, we're here for you. And then our next one, just to share, is Peeps, those horrible marshmallow things. But it's the little tagline says, have your peeps call our peeps, and it's cute little, design on it. So that's always a huge hit. And they're $1, but people get such a kick out of them. And it's just keeping us at their top of mind. So all of our past clients, I think we're doing 100 of them, past clients from last year. So just something to keep in mind. Anybody want to share anything last minute that's super on your mind as we finish this up?
I'm going to be up on that stage in 2 years.
That's right. Yes, you are, Corey. Yes, you are. Maybe 1 year.
I'll push for that. Thanks.
Yes. You got this. All right. Well, I think our time is up. So thank you guys so much. And thank you for your patience with my technical difficulties over here. And Jeff, go say hi to my Aunt Connie. She's right around the corner. So anyway, great to hang out with you guys this morning. Great invigorating start to the day. So get out there and take care of some people. And we will see you soon. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Great job hosting. Thanks.
Great job, Andrea. Thanks, guys.